key sectors of the Nigerian economy.
For the Nigerian young professionals, I'll be clapping in this hall this morning. Please put your hands together. Quite commendable. Quite commendable. All right, we'll take it up from there. Just to let you know that the Niger Delta MSME Summit, the aim is to create a platform for young business owners within the region to interface with agencies of government and other stakeholders on how best to assess information, access credit, support facilities, as well as build strategic relationships. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure and I welcome you one more time to the second Niger Delta Small and Medium Enterprises Summit 2022. It is important that this year's summit is looking at stimulating MSMEs growth towards post-COVID-19 recovery. We have delegates from the 9 states of the Niger Delta region. And if this is your first time of coming to Delta State, I say welcome to Asaba. Welcome to Delta State, the big hat of the nation. At this juncture, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will bring up a man who is a pride of the Niger Delta. He is not just a but someone who's gone on the world map positively. He is no other than the Nigerian Young Professionals Forum, NYPF. He is also the chairman of Osilo Group of Companies, as well as chairman of Heritage Times HT. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Moses Simako Siasia. He is the convener of this event today. Are we clapping in the hall this morning? Put your hands together for him, even as he comes up. He is such an amazing man. It's good to have you, sir. You're welcome.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our guests, special guest here, and also the lineup of wonderful speakers that have come here at the second Niger Delta MSME Summit holding today in Asaba Delta State, the heartbeat of the Niger Delta. I want to specially welcome all our special guests, all our speakers who are here, professionals in their rights, people that have excelled in their various fields of endeavors. May I especially recognize my friend and brother, a young man, a young professional that is doing extremely well in his business career, which is renewable energy solution. I can beat my chest to say that his establishment is one of the best in Africa. Very soon, we are going to go to the world at large. May I seek your indulgence to specially recognize and appreciate my brother, my friend from the northern part of Nigeria, a very focused young man and a man that is very passionate about supporting young people across our country today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, young professionals, let's welcome Suleiman Yusuf, the Chief Executive Officer of Blue Camel Energy Limited, one of the brightest provider in our country today. We also have here as a speaker, a friend and a brother, one of the youngest, a very young professional that is a professor in the area of agriculture, in the area of economics, and far away from the United States. He told me that he's going to make it for this event and is here today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us appreciate Professor Onikon Stasi. You're welcome. My friend and my brother, a man God is using to transform the social-economic capacity of Delta State with the initiative called the Delta Economic Summit. My friend and my brother, you're welcome. Mr. Isiche, you're welcome. I also want to recognize especially the representative of the Executive Secretary of Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, who is here today. And when he called and said, Moses, you know I was with you in Port Harcourt. Now that I have serious engagement, I'm going to send someone with capacity to represent me. And when I saw the representation, I knew that indeed this man is carrying capacity. Let's welcome the Dr. Ama Ikuru, the GM Capacity Division, Building Division of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. You're welcome, sir. I also want to welcome our leader, our friend, our special friend, a lover of the Nigerian youth, a man who has seen youth growth as a priority for national development. My friend, my brother, our father and our leader, His Royal Majesty Livingstone Egba, all the way from Bayelsa. You're welcome. May I also specially recognize the presence of our wonderful, exceptional entrepreneurs that are here today to give us testimonies of how they have walked through in their various business and what they are doing to bring about much needed mentorship to those who are seen as trustees of prosperity. May I especially welcome our panelists that are here today from the cross of the Niger Delta State. We have Antia's farm is here. We have our sister from Delta. She is also here with us. I also have Okon. I can't remember your first name. But I also have, from all the way from Cross River, I also have the young man from River State. So I believe with all these speakers and all the panelists that we have and the guests that we have, we are going to do justice to our team today, which is, stimulating MSME growth towards post-COVID-19 recovery. We all know that we just came out from the COVID-19 challenge. The world has never remained the same. So in businesses, we also need to come up with strategy or adopt best strategy that will help us to conform to modern reality. And that's why we are having this event today, to see how we can support and build the capacity of our entrepreneurs and MSME owners within the Niger Delta region. We have challenge in this region. If you go to Google and you Google Niger Delta youths or Niger Delta young people, what you will see pictures of people carrying AK-47 on speedboats, militancy and all that. What we are doing is to change that narrative. The Niger Delta people, most importantly the young people, are the future of this region. So we must work deliberately and constructively to ensure that we change that negative image and mindset that we have in the Niger Delta. We must work as a people and also as government to ensure that we build the sense and ideas and talent of our young people. I have traveled to the length and breadth of this country. I've also traveled out of this country. We have representation of the Nigerian Young Professional Forum in 15 countries in the world. But I can beat my chest to say that the deposit of professionalism, talent, expertise in the Niger Delta is something that is unprecedented. So the only thing that we need to do is to have people who can tap into the potentials that we have in our Niger Delta and make it more viable for our people and also viable for the economy. I can also tell you that a lot of stories have been told about the Niger Delta young people. For somebody to go to the IC with the level of water frequency, with a speedboat, and kidnap somebody and leave that platform safely to where he will keep his kidnapped victim safe, you need a lot of expertise. And what we need to do as government and as a people is to redirect that energy into something that is more productive. And that's what we are doing here today. We need to build our men and our women, most importantly our women in the Niger Delta. We need to expose them to opportunities. We need to train them. We need to build a network web so that they can benefit from the enormous opportunities in the world. I tell people that we live in a world of endless possibilities. The future and the destiny of this world lies in the hands of young people. So we must build our young people. Today, we are talking about the fourth industrial realm, where people, countries, societies are propelled by science and technology, by digital advancement. So we must introduce that in our region. And our young men, I can tell you that they have that sense of responsibility to be part of that industrial revolution. And the Nigerian Young Professionals Forum is leading that advocate. We are leading that message. And that's why we are having the second Niger Delta MSME Summit here in Delta State. The focus of leadership within this region, to me, with our level of research and the work that we have done, governments within the Niger Delta region have focused so much in the area of contract awards, in the area of procurement. The world has moved beyond the contract awards. The world, what we are talking about now, is a fourth industrial revolution where technology, the partial intelligence, where we are using artificial intelligence to drive economics. So we need to build our young people. There is no leader, dead and alive, that is remembered for the road and bridges that they built. Today we celebrate even some of the leaders, even when they are not alive. The likes of Lee Kuan Yew, the man who brought about the revolution in Malaysia, Singapore. The likes of Gandhi, the Indian revolutionist. We celebrate him today. Our own in Africa here, Mandela. I have never read anywhere where Mandela built a bridge or built a road. The reason why they are all celebrated today, even at death, is the human capacity advancement that they invested in. So we as leaders, I'm calling on the leaders of the region to focus more on human capacity development of our young people. Today you have criminality, kidnapping, social vices, cultism, drug abuse everywhere littered around the region. We must change that negative perception. The only way we must do that is to introduce the culture of entrepreneurship and to give our young people support for their businesses. I have seen several young people within the Niger Delta region with resilience, with focus, with determination to make it. They are just looking for a platform. In Port Harcourt, we had over 1,000 people. We planned for 300, but we had to drive some people home because of the capacity of the hall we're using. People are hungry for leadership. People are hungry for direction, and most importantly, our young people. The future of this region lies in the hands of the young people. So I want to say this: we must change that culture of reward system to those who are not engaging in productive ventures. We must focus our energy to those who are contributing immensely to the productive ventures of this region. And that is the only way we can bring about peace, stability, economic growth, and economic advancement and our oil-rich Niger Delta. Whether you like it or not, countries have started discussing how they can, they stop using oil, crude oil or whatever, or byproducts of oil. People are talking about, electric cars today. People are talking about how robotics system to attend to people. So we must change our mindset, the way we must move beyond the Delta region. So we must, as a matter of national urgency, regional urgency, to ensure that we work collectively with serious-minded government. And that's why I want to sincerely use this opportunity. Because people will say, how is this young man trying to strive to ensure that they do all this? It's just few people who are seeing what we are doing and supporting our activities. I want to use this medium because when we started this journey, I went to so many of our stakeholders within the region. Many of them refused to respond. Many of them never replied my message or my messages. Many of them never house. But few of them understands the value of what we are doing, and they supported us in this drive. So I want to sincerely and I most profoundly appreciate deeply the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Godwin Emefiele, for his support that he has been giving to us to champion this narrative and to change this narrative in our oil-rich Niger Delta. Please, let's put our hands together for him. I also want to thank specially the Executive Secretary of NCDMB. This is a man I consider as the best of public institutions. The man really understands professionalism, he understands new thinking, he understands empowerment. You can see today, despite his very busy schedule, he has sent the GM capacity building to represent him today, because there is a man that understands the capacity of young people. The Executive Secretary of NCDMB. Then lastly, we must also thank the MD of Heritage Bank that has supported us greatly in this drive. He is from the Niger Delta here. He has supported of Heritage Bank, and we cannot thank these three people enough for what they are doing to help us in this journey in changing the moral lifestyle and the standard of our young people. I want to say that resistance for 7 years, and we have executed and out-control over 8 in 7 years. This is not a small achievement without the support of all these people that I've mentioned today. Come over to Niger Delta today, we have a lot of people living in the state. The likes of Tony Elumelu, who is doing extremely well in the African continent. We are very proud of him. He's one of our mentors. But they say charity begins at home. So we are appealing to him to come to the Niger Delta. There are young people who are doing business for him to help. Because you are from a place, whether you like it or not. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm from Bayelsa. So when they ask me, what have you done for your people? I will tell them that, look, this is the little that we are doing to reshape society. So we are calling on Tony Elumelu, we are calling on Jim Ovia, we are calling on the big names, the Albert, they are from Niger Delta. They must continue to do things for their people. So I want to use this meeting for this event, that we are not joking here. We are trying to what is called capacity of our young people within the Niger Delta region. Over 300 people have benefited from the Asaba Microfinance Fund. This event and about politics. Which political party does he belong to? Which political affiliation does he have? We must help our people beyond politics. And we must start creating leaders, professionals, who think about the future, not the next generation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me not bore you, but let me thank you specially for finding time to come for this event. I must appreciate some state governments that are doing well within the MSME space. Delta State Government is doing well. Akwa Ibom State Government is doing well. Edo State Government is doing well. So we must appreciate them. Those of them that are doing well, we must appreciate them. But there are more that needs to be done. Our youths are not militants. Our youths are very energetic people. They are good in nature. They are very vibrant. If you look at it, great people have come out from this region. The likes of JJ Okocha, Philidi George, Victor Igbeba, that is in our sports industry. We are talking Samson Siasia. What about the entertainment industry? The likes of Timaya, the likes of Burna Boy. But they did not succeed, Ali Babas. But they did not succeed when they are here. They have to go to another man's state before they succeed. No, we must change that narrative. Our young people must succeed in the soil of Niger Delta. And that's why we are focusing on the MSME to build the capacity of the young people. And today I want to give opportunity to our speakers to do justice to this program. We are also appreciating these 5 persons, these 5 panelists that we are seeing here today, because they have shown example in their business. Some of them are into agriculture, some of them are into ICT, some of them are into different form of entrepreneurship business. So we are also, as the chairman of NYPF, I'm also pronouncing that after your presentation today, we are giving you a grant of 500,000 naira each to help you, to aid you, for expansion, so that you can use that money to help in your business. Or we are also going to give you opportunities. All our participants, if you have challenge in terms of training, bookkeeping, in terms of networking, in terms of loans, you are looking for soft loan for your businesses, approach us. We will strategically put documentations in place on your behalf and see how we can access all these funds globally and build the capacity of our young people. Once again, I want to thank you all, and may God bless you all.
I think we can do better than that. I mean, that was a powerful speech. You will agree with me. A better round of applause for Mr. Moses Siloko Siasia, who is the convener of the Nigeria Young Professionals. Man, that was really, really very deep. We'll take it up from here quickly this morning. We're still in the morning. Okay, we're already, it's afternoon already, so time is fast spent. I will bring up our speaker. Okay, I will be bringing up our first speaker quickly this afternoon. He's no other than Mr. Suleiman Yusuf, who is the Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Blue Camel Energy. I mean, he is a force when it comes to the issues of renewable energy. He's done so well in Kaduna State and the entire North. I mean, he's even gotten a presidential recognition for his work, not just in Nigeria. He's gone into researches and his business is really on a very great deal, moving, very fast. So at this juncture, let me welcome Mr. Suleiman Yusuf, who will be coming up, to really share with us his success story and how young people in the region can tap into the renewable energy industry in this country. Please, one more time, put your hands together for Mr. Suleiman as he comes up.
afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The organizers of this event, special guests here, and speakers. My pleasure to be here once again, addressing a gathering like this of the young people in Nigeria. My name is Suleiman Yusuf. I am the founder and managing director of Blue Camel Energy. I won't take much time to talk about the company, but I believe that, in these days of technology, we don't need to gather people and waste their time and introduce, ourselves. We just go online and find out more. But Blue Camel is a company that has been established, and I tell you, established from the boot of my car. That's where the business started from. About 13 years ago. Within then and now, we have a staff strength of about 150 people on salary, and we have over 250 other staff that are on contract that we call on when we have projects or engagement for them. The company has also gone ahead to set up a training academy, because it's not just enough for you to build a business without transferring that knowledge to the younger generation who will be doing the same thing even in better ways in the future. So the company went ahead to set up a training academy in Kaduna, and this academy has graduated over 340 renewable energy experts in different fields. We've also impacted over 3,000 lives in indirect employment. And I think these are the kind of data, that keeps us going, and that's the reason why we're here today, to share how we can achieve and how we can make this kind of moves and progress in the entrepreneurship. Let me quickly talk about Nigeria as a country and what is the state of our country today. We're in a very, very pathetic state. The problems that Mr. Siasia has just mentioned here in the Niger Delta, I believe that if you go up north, where I come from, actually times 3. So the country is in a very pathetic state. A country that has been blessed with so much resources, both in human resources and mineral resources. Excel when we go out of Nigeria. Why is it that we cannot excel here? It's not even enough for him to talk about people who are looking for jobs or looking for something to do, eat, or to survive. Even those who have been successful, who think that they have been very successful in Nigeria, their enjoyment of their success is actually limited. So on a 0 to 100 scale, no matter how successful you are in Nigeria today, you are already naturally limited to perhaps about 70. That means you cannot even enjoy the proceeds of your success because of a fundamental issue that we have as a country today. I was talking to some young people recently in my kids' school, and it's an entrepreneurship day, and I was invited to talk to the kids. So during the speech, I made them to understand that as much as they're all aspiring to become successful, people in their different choice of professions, that they're only going to become successful prisoners. And a lot of people did not understand from what perspective I was talking, including the parents, and some of the other speakers there. So the point we're making is, beyond the problem that we have with unemployment, especially the youth unemployment, which is resulting to so many vices like the youth restiveness in the Niger Delta. In the north, we have the kidnappers, we have the the terrorists, we have the bandits, so many different forms. What informs this? As a kid growing up in Lagos, where I was born, I used to know successful people to live in homes, beautiful homes in Ikeja and GRA, Lekki, and perhaps, Ikoyi. And these very successful people lived in homes that, you could see and admire from afar. There were no high fences and barbed wires. Today, If you are successful in Nigeria, whether you're in the Niger Delta or in the north or any part of the country, or even in Abuja, you live in houses with very high fence and barbed wires like the prisons that we used to know. Secondly, if you're very successful today, be it in the private industry or in the government, be you a senator, member, House of Reps, or whatever you want, whatever field, once you get to that level of success, you cannot move around without an armed personnel. So what does that make you? As a kid growing up, I only knew prisoners to be, escorted by armed personnel. So that means there is a limitation to what we can use the proceeds of our success to enjoy. In the same vein, if you are also very, very successful today in Nigeria, you cannot move around with the normal vehicles that people drive in. You have to move around in bulletproof cars, that's armored cars. We used to know only prisoners to be carried in black Marias, which means today, if things don't change, even the success we are trying to attain, it's only going to be successful, but in prison, because that's how we live today, the successful people of Nigeria. So if you agree with me that this problem is there, and we know it is there, then why is it there? Only singular reason why we cannot even enjoy the proceeds of our success, even when we're successful, is because there are no jobs. People are unemployed. So unless we create these jobs and engage the young people, there is not going to be peace, whether in the Niger Delta or in the northern part of Nigeria. That's the fact. So it's not enough for you to just think about, working your way and getting a job and become employed and self-sustaining. You need to think about how to create jobs even for so many other people that don't have jobs. Otherwise, you cannot enjoy the proceeds of your success. Having said that, the state at federal and state level has a very significant role to play in addressing or changing this narrative. And I'll just mention a few points and areas that I expect our government to do more at all levels. You see, there is a difference between leaders and politicians. We need to begin to build leaders. If we don't start building leaders today, then we're still going to be in the same state where in the next 10, 20, 30 years. Leaders think about the future generation, and politicians are just more concerned about the next election. These are facts. So at all levels, we expect our leadership to do what Mr. Sampson is doing here today. What he's doing is building leaders for the future. Mr. Moses. Yeah. Sorry. So to begin to allocate our resources in the appropriate direction. Like he mentioned, bridges and roads don't build the future. What builds the future is capacity, human capacity development. We need to emphasize more on building the capacity of our young people, because inevitably they are going to be the leaders of the future. No, we're not saying that it's not okay to build roads and bridges, but the capacity of young people, which we have in so much abundance, must not be continuously neglected. Because once that capacity is channeled in the wrong direction, nobody can live in this country. So the issue of youth empowerment, that means allocating more resources, providing the enabling environment. We're not even saying you should give money to the youth. Just provide the enabling environment. Give them access to education. Give them access to infrastructures like internet. Give them access to electricity. And then perhaps give them, a secure environment where investors are happy to come in, put their money and just see what happens. in the north, we do hear a lot about the youth in the Niger Delta. Not in the north, I think Mr. President once mentioned that the Nigerian youths are lazy. Yes, it's true to some extent, that we're lazy. It's not because they want to be lazy. It has to be a direction. Today, we have lost our focus as young people. We've lost our vision to televisions. These televisions are our pads, our phone, the TV. Ask a young man today who just graduated from school. He can name the top, 10 players, and he can tell you everything about their lifestyle. He can tell you the kind of cars he wants to drive and their prices. This young man probably has never thought of just sitting down and imagining owning a tractor and how that can make him multi-millionaire or billionaire in the next couple of years. Our young ladies also, they're always able to afford the latest phone, 1 million naira plus. That's capital to start a business. Luke Hamon started with a 5 million naira capital. And today I'm proud to let you know that we're worth over 4 billion in net worth. We're not even talking about brands, capital. So these very small things, can actually become what you need to build a company, to build a brand, to build, your sustainability over time. Now, what we need to focus on as leaders of the Niger Delta here, and also leaders from my place, which at every opportunity that I've met a couple of governors, I've mentioned this to them. Build the youth, empower them, include them in leadership, because whether you like it or not, your generation is going to expire. So if you don't prepare the next generation of leadership, then you're actually, not even going to be able to live comfortably in your own country after all, the opportunity you've had to change things. So we must not neglect, our youth. And I'll tell you, we keep saying there is no job, there is no job, there is no job. How come foreigners from Benin Republic, from Cotonou, there are certain jobs up till now that if you want them properly delivered, you must bring in these foreigners. The difference is that even in artisanship, they had the opportunity to go through a structured and disciplined training. And that's where the difference is. If you get an artisan today to do a job for you, and you pay him on a Thursday, on Friday he kills himself at the club, on Saturday, hangover, he's not coming to work. On Sunday, he doesn't even have money to, So what happens? He doesn't have the discipline, that structured discipline, and that's the difference between somebody who passes through the classroom, even at the primary school level, who knows that every day he has to wake up, he has to be in school at a particular time, and he closes at a particular time. So what we need to do is to harness these resources, and give them a structured environment where they can learn that discipline. It's not like our people do not have the skills. They do have the skills, but they have not had the opportunity to have that platform and to instill that discipline in them. I was speaking to somebody who worked for me from Benin Republic. He's into tiling, excellent job. And I was asking him why they don't engage our young people, when they're delivering their project. Always come with their whole team. And he told me that as a policy, the government has provided a platform for them to learn that job, but the payback to the government is to ensure that they, bring up a number of other young people that they are going to train. That's a deliberate, and targeted policy towards empowering their own youth. So the idea of saying, I can't find money to do business is not true. There are so many investors, so many successful business people who have the money. They are looking for young people with ideas. If you bring a business plan that works for them today, that money is going to come out. So we keep saying we can't have access to capital. The capital is in building yourself. Once you build yourself and you are able to, establish some level of reputation, consistency, education, and hard work, there are people looking out for you, invest in you. And to prove this point, as we leave this forum today, I'm going to set up a platform where we'll be investing 25 million naira in 5 young people from the Niger Delta. So once you have engineering background and you're able to prove that you're a stable person who is willing to be trained, we will provide a training platform for you and we invest in you and set up joint business with you here in the Niger Delta too, so that we can expand the good things that we're doing in the north. Why I keep insisting that our leaders have a lot to do. As a small company that started about 13 years ago, 3 years ago we approached the Kaduna State government without knowing anybody. We just wrote a proposal to the governor to say we want to come into your state and we want to start assembling something locally. Less than 24 hours, there was a call from the government house inviting us to come and make a presentation. We made that presentation, we left Kaduna, we were driving back to Abuja. Before we got to Abuja, we got another call again that our presentation is successful and we should come back to select, a piece of land where we can execute that project. Behold, we went back the following day and we were given 3 hectares land in the heart of the industrial area to select the one that suits our project. Today, that gesture by His Excellency the Kaduna State Governor has led to an indirect impact of over 3,000 people, including the food sellers, the supply, just name it. And out of the over 340 people that we have trained, like you said, charity begins at home. The bulk of them are from Kaduna State. Interestingly, Kaduna State does not adopt indigenization, they adopt citizenship. So once you have lived in Kaduna State for up to 10 years, they take you as an indigene of Kaduna State, you have equal rights. So there is a lot to be done by our government at different levels. But I'll also tell you that, things are changing. If the youth can continue to empower themselves, there is a level it gets to where the youth will take over even the governance that we're talking about. Imagine that we have 20 of the likes of Dangotes and they work together as a team. They will decide who becomes the president of Nigeria today. So that is to say that the power still lies with us. It's just a function of realizing this and beginning to work on time as a team. As Nigerians, we must encourage unity. There are lots of opportunities that you are looking for here that are actually in Sokoto, in Kebbi, in Kaduna. There are lots of skills there also that the opportunities are actually here. So we must foster that unity. We're blessed as a nation. And as a group of young people, I'm very happy to understand that, our mindset is different from that of the older generation. We're able to meet, interact, and relate and do things together. My company, about 60% of my employees are actually from the Niger Delta. That's the interesting part. And my lead engineer, who has trained all my engineers over the years, he's also from the Niger Delta. So whenever I hear that the Niger Delta youth are lazy, I just can't phantom, But now I see that the opportunities are not there for them to leverage on. And that is the opportunity that we must take as a responsibility to provide today. So if we don't do it today, no matter how successful you are, or no matter how successful I am as a businessman, a time will come when we'll have our bags packed and our second citizenship passport ready to leave the country. We're not too far from that unless we continue to do what we're doing and change this situation. So, on a last note, let me quickly leave this. It's called the 14 P's of entrepreneurship. I'll leave this with young people here, if you can note it down. But I also try to create a forum, an interactive forum where you can reach out to us and we discuss these P's. First of all, you must have a passion, something in life. Whatever that passion is, build your thoughts, your business around that passion. Your imagination should always not go far from that passion. Because the only way you can continue to make money in whatever you're doing is to keep doing what you like doing. If you don't like what you're doing, it gets to a point where you've made enough money and then you stop doing that thing because it's not something you like to do. So don't ignore your passion. It's very, very important. That's the first P. The second P is planning. Once you identify your passion, you must plan. And that planning must be research-based. You must read. You must understand how these things are done in other parts of the world. You must look at the local environment. You must gather data. You must know what people need. A lot of times we just think that, getting a government job or getting into politics, it's not a profession. It's not a profession. And besides that, how many opportunities are there in government to take up? We're graduating over 2 million youths every year. How many jobs are there in government or in politics to absorb these youths? So that's very key, planning. Then after planning, you must identify a product. Your product could be material product or non-material product. It could be an IT service where you just sit down in your house and somebody needs that service. That service is your product. Whatever it is, somebody probably needs his laundry done, but he doesn't have time and resources or time to go to the laundry house. Closing that gap is probably the resources you have, and somebody is willing to pay for it. So, having identified a product, this is the third P. You now move to your place. Where is your place of business? It could be, there are so many successful businesses around the world that started from the backyard. Mine started from the boot of my car. I had my printer, my computer, I had my invoice, and once I'm contacted, I could just stop by anywhere, and before you know, you get response. That is where my own business started from. It could just be on your computer, or even on this phone. It's so bad that we put up an aptitude test, and then people came for interview, and I was on the panel interviewing people that came for employment in a company. Many of them could not use their phone to just Google and find out a little bit about the company they're coming to. And tomorrow you go, you say there are no job opportunities. So once you identify the place, the next thing is the people. Who are the people you're working with? Who are the people you're working for? Who are the off-takers of your product? Who are the partners that you can collaborate with to make sure that you're able to provide this thing that people are willing to pay for? After identifying the people, then you must identify your partners. That's one thing that is always lacking in entrepreneurship today. We don't have the ability to work together, and there is no way you can provide everything. So you need somebody to combine his resources with yours to be able to get the result that makes you successful. Then the price, whatever product you want to sell must have a price, and that price must be attractive to the person who is buying. You can see coincidentally how everything is just going the P way. We have 14 or 15 of them. After fixing a price for a product, you need to ascertain a percentage of your profit that must be shared amongst everybody that is contributing to that process. Everybody must have a percentage share of the proceeds of that business, otherwise it's going to crash. After the percentage, then you go to the area of packaging. Whatever you're selling, the way you package it will determine whether you sell it or you're unable to sell. Then you have the presentation. How do you present your product? Also very, very key in whatever you want to do as a startup business. After presentation, you have promotion, which incidentally is one of the easiest things you will do. Sitting down here with your phone, you can reach hundreds of millions of people across the globe. You can select your target audience, so promotion is something you can do via the social media and so many of these. Then, after promotion, you also need to think about perfection. Just whatever you deliver, give it that perfect touch. Before it goes out to the market, ensure that you take that time to check and be sure that your signature will go on it. So anybody who sees it knows that, okay, this is this person's product, because it's always perfect. But after having done all this, perseverance is key. You don't just think that you've done all this, you've put all this together and it's not working. You have to persevere. You fail, you encounter challenges, but you need to keep pushing until that time. And especially if it's your passion, then you are not even going to give up. And punctuality is also very, very key. So that's about 14. But lastly, the 15th P is prayers. I believe that we all need prayers to be successful in whatever we've chosen to do. So I leave you with these 15 Ps, and I'll create a forum where we can continue to interact and talk about it. And I also, will set up, that link. I believe you get it across to the youth. We'll probably start with about 25 people and we'll streamline them to the 5 who will get that investment fund. But those 25 people will get free training on renewable energy. We'll bring them to our training center in Kaduna and Abuja. We'll train them. And those who succeed, who prove to have the potentials to run a business, we'll invest in them and then we'll kickstart something with them in different states of the Niger Delta. So with this, thank you so much for this opportunity, and we're happy to be part of this. We'll continue to be part of this. We must build this country because we don't have anywhere else to go to. We must understand that if you're successful as an individual and you lose your identity, some of us, our kids have not been able to visit our local regions, our identity, where we come from, for a couple of years because of the insecurity. And if that continues, it's going to spread across. So if you end up with children who, from your house, it's to the airport, and from the airport is London, Dubai, and where have you, if you find out from our brothers in America, the blacks, and you know the pains they go through every day because they don't have an identity. They only have addresses, social blog on Brooklyn. You have an identity today and you must preserve that identity. And the only way we can do that is to make the country a better place for all of us to be able to live and coexist peacefully. And the only way we can achieve that is by continuously, creating the platform for the young people, the youth. The numbers are so much, over 60% of the population. We must include them in leadership. We must consider their empowerment at every policy that we do. Today we are running 5 different offices in different states. So I'm appealing to the Niger Delta, leaders who are in position that in spending the money that is meant for the people, we shouldn't just think about the structures we are putting in place. We must tie our spendings to empowerment and job creation. In some of the states today, we've been given a project to deliver. We've delivered. But the projects are tied to training and retraining of young people and also engaging them for these services. It's not enough to continue to import things from China and other parts of the world and just deliver it to our people. How long are we going to keep importing? As we are in this hall today, perhaps 80 to 85% of everything here is imported. That means we're employing people in other economies and making them stronger. So we must change that. Thank you very much, the organizers of this event. We're happy to be here. We'll always be here to support. And we're hoping that very soon we will extend this gesture to part of our states in the north, where the youth also need to be talked to and to be empowered. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Suleiman Yusuf. He deserves a round of applause, a better one than that. Are we clapping? Are there young people in the room this afternoon? I mean, he said something that was quite striking, and I think that actually deserves some level of emphasis. He said, it's one thing to be a big man in Nigeria, and it's another thing to be a rich prisoner in Nigeria. Do you hear that? Yes. So if you are rich, you are rich, but you can't really enjoy your wealth. And like Mr. Moses said, and Mr. Suleiman has said, we must, as a matter of urgency, do something very fast about our young people. It's very, very important. I mean, it's expedient because you can't continue carrying arms now. I mean, how do these people even... Is it not possible that when you want to go to bed, I mean, the other security guy, the orderly, will also need to rest? We can't continue like that. And it says that politicians will think about the next election, but leaders will think about the next generation. Let's begin to do that quickly. We move on this afternoon. It's been a very exciting time. We heard from our first speaker. One more time, put your hands together for him. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. It was quite very deep. All right, before we call on our next speaker or someone to give a goodwill message, let's just one more time put on record and appreciate very deeply some of the supporters of this program. And in the line and the scheme of things is the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, who is a consummate economist, by the way, Dr. Godwin Emefiele, for his support, immense support for this program. Please put your hands together for the CBN governor one more time. Maybe if you've not organized any program before, you would have encountered what a lot of people pass through organizing programs. Even those who promised you that they're going to reach out to you. I mean, just somehow along the line, you're dialing and you're hearing say, the number you called is not reachable at the moment. Please try again later. That's it. You can send a message, you get this, if it's on WhatsApp, you've gotten the blue tick, but hey, no response. But when you see people throw their weight, and to really be honest, no leader will be remembered for the roads or the bridges. There are bigger legacies to leave behind, and that's developing the human capacity. In the Niger Delta region, we've got people. We've got the capacity. And until we change the narrative, I mean, for some who've had the opportunity to travel out of the country, you find that anytime you get to any international airport, whether it's a John F. Kennedy Airport in the US or the Heathrow Airport in the UK, you are somehow subjected to some level of scrutiny, more search, because you say you are from Nigeria. We need to change that. But you know what? Nigerians are running the economy. There are more black doctors there. There are more nurses there from Nigeria. They are the ones powering the economy. So the question we must ask ourselves this morning, even as this afternoon, even as we continue, is to ask ourselves this very big question. Why do people fail, or people who somehow fail in Nigeria succeed in other climes? Hello? Are we together? Why do some people who fail in Nigeria, quote and off quote, understand me, go to other climes and succeed very well? It's a big question. So someone is a third-class product in Nigeria, or somehow even left the university without results, and it travels out of the country, comes back with a first class. It's something we need to think about very deeply this afternoon. Let's invite for his goodwill message Dr. Ama Ikuru, who is the General Manager, Capacity Building, Nigeria Content Development Board, NCDMB, this afternoon. Please put your hands together for Dr. Ama Ikuru. You can do better than that, even as he steps forward this afternoon to give quickly his goodwill message. He's also a very strong supporter, of the Nigerian Young Professionals brand. Everyone who came here, they've gone through some level of sacrifice to actually be here this afternoon. One more time, put your hands together for Dr. Ama Ikuru. Thank you, sir. The stage is yours.
Good afternoon, all. So let me adopt the protocol established by the MC and the convener, save us the time, and especially recognize my friend, Chief Eba. Let me start by saying that the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Engineer Simbi Kesiewa-Bote, would have loved to be here himself, but for duties. But his message is here, and we'll make it very simple for all of us to understand. He has asked me to congratulate the organizers and conveners of this event and he has assured me that he will continue to associate with you if it will be in the best interest of Nigerian youths and Nigerian people. So thank you very much for putting this together. You know, as a young man, I used to leave the house every day when Nigeria is playing football with other countries. And when I get back home, my father will ask me, did Nigeria win? When I got to the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, I realized that we have just one job: to ensure that Nigeria wins. And I urge all of you to ask yourselves the same question in the things that you do. Will Nigeria win? Should Nigeria win? Because when we play football, we don't think about where we are from. Am I right? We play as a team, and we need to play as a team. We need to ensure that Nigeria continues to win. I am told that in terms of Human Development Index, Nigeria falls squarely in the ranks of very poor countries. And we in this room can do something about it. The discussion we are having in this room will change that game. We want to see our young entrepreneurs begin to innovate. We want to support them to succeed. We want to put tools in their toolboxes through the trainings that we give to ensure that we can move Nigeria out of that bracket to make Nigeria win. I looked at the list of the Forbes list of billionaires in the world. We have a few guys on that list, but the young people, we have over 107 young people on that list, and none is a Nigerian. I know we've done a little success with Flutterwave now, but we can do a lot more. And I look at the people in this room and I'll ask you, will you make Nigeria proud? Will you put Nigeria on that list? There's no structure to it. Think about the product that people want. Think about the quality that makes a difference. Make a difference in whatever you do, and Nigeria will win. To support you to win, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board has put a number of things in place to support. First, we have Nigerian Content Intervention Fund to help businesses that want to work in the oil and gas industry to have access to finance. So finance is no longer a story. We have $350 million with the Bank of Industries. Nigerians have having offtake from that fund. You can also benefit from it if you have a winning product. We've just recently put together a $50 million fund for those who want to use our facilities to manufacture. So when Mr. Suleiman was talking about what he has done in solar energy and co, we have a facility that will reduce some of your risk, and you can take resources from us to establish your facility and become successful. We've also put in funds with NEXIM for women. We've taken care of about 40 million women can take that fund and become very successful. We have working capital for companies established in Nigeria and a host of other things that we can do to make you become successful. But what we need to make the difference is that it's a world of technology. The tools of yesteryears will no longer count. We want to see young people begin to innovate. It's a world of digitalization. So think coding. Yeah, you can code on your phone, you can do so many things. The NCDMB will support you, but we want you to come out and become the success story that we're looking for. Yeah? And finally, it is reassuring that a group like this has been organized. Last year and the year before, we organized the Nigerian Oil and Gas Technology Hackathon to bring young people together. And we saw, armada of ideas, good ideas from young people. We believe you can. We believe you make Nigeria proud. In all things that you do, put those ideas forward, you'll be supported. And let's ensure that Nigeria wins. Let me thank the organizers once more for putting this together. Let's work together with the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. And let's ensure that in everything, Nigeria wins. Make Nigeria win. Thank you very much.
Please, one more time, you can put your hands together for him there. Thank you. We'll be taking our second guest speaker for this afternoon. He's no other than Mr. Ikinem Isiche, who is currently the Chief Executive Officer of ASIO Associates, an advisory services firm based in Abuja. He has served different local and international clients such as BJ Group, BP North America, Marathon Oil, Accenture, Chevron, Procter & Gamble, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, just to mention a few. back in Delta. He is the convener or the chairman of the Delta Economic Summit Group. Ladies and gentlemen, young Niger Deltans in the house this afternoon, please help me put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Ekinem ECJ for his presentation. Thank you very much, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. Let me just start by thanking all the organizers. To organize a program is never easy, and to get everybody here is also never easy. But one thing I've learned in life is that those who are meant to be here are meant to be here. And I believe that this program will add so much value as long as you listen with intention. Because everybody's here to share their collective experiences of what they have learned and what you should take on. So you learn it and you don't make the mistake that some of us made that may have slowed us down to get where we are. Looking at the topic for today, for us in the Delta Economic Summit Group, we have three objectives. One, how do we increase more public-private partnerships in Delta State? The second, how do we scale up more social impact work around education, health in Delta State and ICT? The third is how do we even get more Deltans involved in what's happening in Delta State? And when you take all this into account, COVID-19 to me was a blessing. When we happened in 2000, some people call it was really bad or this and that, but let me tell you a story, it was a blessing. I used to be in the oil and gas sector. I spent about 12 years in the oil and gas sector. And I worked downstream, I worked upstream, I worked for 4 oil majors, I worked in 3 oil and gas companies. But one day I had a conversation with God and I was like, what's next? I'm in management, I'm doing really well, but something has changed. And so what happened? I resigned. I left everything. I left the money, I left the position and all that. I said, let me start something. So I came back home. For the first 3 years of coming back home, I was completely broke. I had spent everything I needed to spend. I had tried everything I needed to try. I've done government contracting. I've done everything. One day, a gentleman came up to me and he asked me a question. He said, what do you really do? And I gave him my business card at the time. My business card to say, contractor, this one, that one, like almost 6 of them on the card. You know, sure, who can relate to that? You know, contractor, this, that, all these things there. But he told me, no, what are you known for? And he reminded me of something in the Bible which is about Moses. When Moses was frustrated with God, and God asked him, what is in your hands? So I took away all those 6 things, I just put one thing there that I knew that I was good at. And once that one thing was there that I knew I was good at, guess what? The opportunities started coming. The doors started opening. Went from a team of none, which is just one, to a team of about 12 people. We grew. We worked for companies like Shell and MPC, did a lot of work. So imagine coming first 3 years we were broke, but then things started to ramp up and we grew our team. There are a couple of lessons I learned. I want to share it with that phase, and I'll go into the topic of today around stimulating the growth. One thing I learned in that period where I was broke and trying to build a firm, I can see a lot of people trying to build a company and thinking, where do I go, what do I do? One, the fact that you're alive today means that God has work for you to do. 2, it's not about having money, it's about what you do with money. You can't spend 1,000 naira. If you don't know how to spend 1,000 naira, you don't know how to spend $1 million. It's a fact. So you have to learn the value of 1,000 naira and learn the value of 10,000, 100,000, and 1 million. Every day you must get up and know that each day counts. You must build your castle brick by brick. 4, invest your income back into your company. Sometimes people put themselves as their company, and then when they start making money, they can't differentiate between the company and themselves, so there's confusion in expenses. 5, save now and reap the benefits later. 6, surround yourself with the right team. COVID-19 was what taught me about surrounding myself with the right team. So you are growing, you're hiring people, you're telling people that you have people in the company. December 2019, going into January 2020, before the lockdown happened in February, March, all 12 folks in my firm at the time, gone. We were starting from scratch. It was then I realized a couple of things. I don't know if you have the slides, you go to like maybe the slide on respond, recover, thrive. I think like fourth to the last stage. A client told me this is not how you react to the situation, it's how did you respond to that situation. COVID-19 has happened, things were impacted, people lost jobs, people lost opportunities, people were not going to different places because there was a lockdown. So how you respond to that situation is going to be very important. The second is how do you develop your recovery plan? You know what we did? We realized that, okay, fine, we've had people before in the past. Now we'll look at people that can help us take us to the next level. If we can't afford it, then what we'll do is that we build partnerships. But guess what? We focus on partnerships where we couldn't afford it. And so if I had a friend who was a really good lawyer, that person become our company legal counsel. If I had a person who was really good in finance, but I'm not good in finance, that person will bring that person to our firm. So we decided to restructure how we do things because structure creates value. If you don't have structure in whatever you're doing, forget the values, it will never exist. Even if you hustle from now to tomorrow, do your hustling or do your computer thing or 19 thing, it will crash one day. The bottom line is go back to something that is a difficult discipline called structure. So we had to go back to structure around our business, structure around our processes, structure around even how do we even add value. Because that value is important to the client. I can't sell value to somebody if you don't feel like you need it. So our clients will come to us and say, so everybody has gone now, so what's the plan? We had to respond back to them and say, no, the company is going through a transition. We're going to get the right people that will help you, and trust me, we'll make sure that we can do more than the rest of them. And that's what we did. So I'm telling you, as either a company owner or an entrepreneur, that's how you have to start thinking. The right people are very important. They form the foundation of your business. It's not about being the CEO, COO, chairman of the company and all those things. That is called pride. Get the right people. It takes a process. But once you have the right people, they will help drive the business. So we had to respond, we had to recover, we had to thrive. But then we also had to reflect. We had to sit back and think about what are we really good at doing that nobody else can offer. So even if I'm in Delta State or I'm in the Niger Delta states, where is the gap currently? And within my skill sets and my company or my firm, what can I bring to the table that will make sense? And that's what we did. So we have never done webinar before. We started doing webinars. We didn't know anything about Zoom. We started using Zoom. We just started. Because we realized, and we started doing webinars, we started inviting commissioners of health to come and talk about what they are doing in their states, different things. That led to an opportunity where a client came to us and said, actually 3 clients came to us and said, you know what, you could seem to have some leverage, so we're trying to put some frontline healthcare supplies to all the frontline healthcare workers across Nigeria. So why don't you handle all 36 states? Imagine in the midst of a lockdown, handling all 36 states to make sure that different, health supplies go to all their frontline healthcare workers in the states. It means that even if you don't know anybody, you have to knock on those doors, whether it's in Borno State, or whether it's in Kaduna State, or whether it's in Cross River, or even Delta. It was then I began to see a lot of things about Nigeria. There are some states that were so happy to even receive, and there were some that did shakara. But bottom line was that when there's a door to be knocked on, there's a door that can open, and you have to keep knocking on those doors. And we did all 36 states, not once, 3 times. Why am I saying this? It was not anything that we were, how do I put this, that we had done before. It was not anything that we just thought, people just think that, okay, yeah, fantastic at doing it. It's something that we had to learn, but learn quickly and make sure that we create value, because guess what? We were prepared, the opportunity was there, and the only missing time there was the equals to and success. But that equals to is where the work is. that equals to is where the main work is if we're going to get to where you need to get to. So, as entrepreneurs within a system, it's something that you must do, because today we're dealing with different clients, different FMCGs locally. We're also doing work in 7 countries. So this is a business that basically, I told you, the first 3 years were broke. And by the end of 2019, everybody was gone. And between 2019 and that, we're still up to 7 countries. That is how we have grown. Because we understand the power of having vision, having a structure. Noticing that even if the situation were to happen, how do you respond to it? What is your recovery plan? And how are you going to move forward? It's going to be very essential. And I say this to everybody, it doesn't matter even if you're an usher or this and that. The business things you have in your mind, the things you want, you don't have to start doing it. If you have not registered a business before, go and register a business. The federal government has already given, created platforms where with their reduced fees for creating companies, if you want something, you have to go for it. If you want to create that company, go and do it. It's easier for me to deal with you as a company than to deal with you as an individual. So I'm saying all this because we're still in that recovery phase. You have to understand that the country you're living in is borrowing money. So imagine you're in a house and they said, we pay this rent next year, we have to borrow money. And then the following year, you pay rent again, you have to borrow money. And the following year, you have to borrow money. You may raise some money, but it's still not enough to cover the rent. You and I think about and ask a question, is that sustainable? Is that sustainable? So the question is, what are you and I going to do in a system that there's a challenge and there's a problem? It's not about talking about that the system has a challenge, what you do within that challenge. We choose not to look at this problem and focus on the problem only. We just chose to look at what the solution should be and how we should go about doing it. You don't get to 7 countries by just talking about the problems. You have to think about what gaps you can fill in and where you can go to get to where what you want to do. Even with doing all that, and then taking on this thing as position as with DSG, my core values, how do we help our SMEs within the state? How do we support them? We have a program called the Unsung Heroes, where we actually go into different parts of Delta to find those individuals who are doing great work, but nobody knows anything about them. They are hiding in their places, doing whatever they need to do. Our job is to go and find those people, bring them, and then showcase them to the world that we have great Deltas doing things. At the same time, we also have companies that are trying to come to Delta. One of them, we just facilitated a meeting between them and the Ministry of Health. Their job is going to be to rehabilitate 25 healthcare centers in Delta State across 25 local governments. It's what we have to do. It's not about sitting down and thinking about the problem once again. It's about how do you address the solution. And one of the things that I would add finally is that whenever you're thinking about building something, especially in times we live in, and like I told you, it's not as if the federal government hasn't done their part, or the CBN or anybody has done their part. The question is, what are you going to do? When you leave this conference, what are you going to do? Because I was sitting down in a conference like this in Abuja, and I was broke. All I had was a business card in my pocket. Because I didn't know, just need ideas. I will come to forums like this to meet people and get ideas. And as I get ideas, I write them down, because there's power in writing. You can't keep nodding your head, because you can nod your head from now, and they walk outside there, somebody hits your car. All that knowledge has gone. You're dealing with the issue of your car being hit. All right. But there's power in writing down something. Because when you write, you think. And when you think, you plan. And you fail to plan, not to fail. So, I'll leave you with this. It's important in times that we live in for a post-recovery thing that number one, we can go to that slide with about 6 things. Understand your customer needs. Who is your customer? Whether you're selling cassava, you're selling fish, your dry cleaning business, who is your customer? Your customer cannot be just your neighbor or your friends or people you know. The world is bigger than them. You must begin to think globally. Who is your customer? Your customer is not just the people within your vicinity, your local government, your ward. Who is your customer? Okay, I'll ask that question again. Your customer is bigger than what you think you are. Your customer is global. You're dealing with people who are doing the same thing in India, China, Europe, US, Rwanda, Tanzania. They are doing the same thing as you. So your customer is global. 2, cash flow. How do you manage money? How do you manage when money enters your hand? What do you do with money? I was talking to a young person and I said, you should use your money in about 3 or 4 ways. You're a Christian, you're a Muslim, there's money you pay for your tithes. Always give that to God because God that provides. The second thing is that you must save. The third thing is that you must invest. And the fourth thing is the one you have to spend. But that investment is where the tricky thing is. I always tell people, when you take up a can of Coke, let's say Coke is about 500 naira, right? Coke's 500 naira. You pick up a can of Coke and you look at a can of Coke and you say, Coke, this Coke is sweet. This Coke is cool. I like cold Coke. I like this and that. I don't look at it that way. When I pick up that same can of Coke, I look at it like these are like 100 shares of Access Bank. That's how I look at it. You look at it differently, I look at it differently. When I pick up a more expensive item, I'm like, these are like 4 shares of, 4 shares of Niger Cement or 5 shares of MTN. MTN came out with a public offering at 140. So how many of you bought those shares at 140? But you're gonna buy a more expensive phone. How many? Are you investing for the present or are you investing for the future? Because the future will pay you dividends, but the present will give you the glory that you have a nice phone, which can be stolen at any time. So that is important. Begin to look at things differently and money differently. 3, reorganize your organization. Go back and look at your resume, reflect on it, ask yourself some questions. I can bet the gentleman from Blue Camel, I don't know him, I've never met him before, but I know about his company. I know about his company when the company was looking to do some stuff in Kaduna, and I had to find out who Blue Camel was. And today we are meeting each other for the first time. I knew about his company, I knew what they do. And I'm going to ask him for some things that I need from him. Not that as a solar system I want to talk to him about. But that's where the opportunity is. I had found out about his company, researched about his company, know about his company. So when I have a conversation with him, I'm miles ahead in my conversation with him. So go back and look at your supply chain. Who is who in your company? Who is who in your company? Is it you? Are you the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, Chief Operational Officer, Chief Financier, Chief Transporter? Abba. Assistant, well, if you land in the hospital, who will take care of the business then? 4. It's 3 and 4 almost the same thing, but yours. What I want to mention in 3, I was always mixing with 4. 3 is really looking at your process flow. How is your process flow? How do you move from point A to point B to point C to this? What is the process in your organization? Everything must have a process. To do this program, there was a process. Then to have an agenda is a process. Speak at A, speak at B, it's a process. So are you that organized to have that sort of process? Or, like I say, within your workforce, who are the people around you? If you don't have an accountant, go and get one. If you don't have a financier, go and get one. Whatever you don't have, find it. If you don't have a board chairman, look for somebody who's a board woman. Look for somebody who is credible enough that can help you. Don't go and look for a political figure. It's not about the political figure that will save you, even if they are so and so in the state. It's about the point that can this person help you? It could even be our uncle who is a traditional ruler here. You know, it could be anybody. And it could be our uncle here who is the NCD's Niger Delta Content Development Board. But the person must be credible. Because guess what? If there's a scandal, and I'm saying this to you, if there's a scandal and that person's name is called, they will trace it to the companies that person is linked to and could be your company. That's how serious it gets. 5, digitalize your business. I told you we started using Zoom. For us in our firm, Monday morning, 8:30 in the morning, we're on Zoom. Everybody's on Zoom. We must talk about what our plan is for the week. We write it down. On Sunday night, we put everything on Excel. So what we do is on Monday morning, we go through everybody's agenda. Everybody in the firm. You must tell everybody what your plan is for this. It puts you on your toes and also lets you know that, listen, we have to be thinking ahead. So we'll know those who want to copy from last week to this week. And we'll look at that and say, we believe that is what you did last week, you're bringing to this week. So please tell us what new things you add to the table. I will sit and wait for you to bring that new thing to the table. Why? We want to challenge your thinking. You're in a world of critical thinking. The world is going towards critical thinking. Technology has evolved. We're using Zoom to have the calls. But at the same time, technology, your thinking has to evolve. when you have this conversation with people, your thinking must evolve. The gentleman I sat to my right, he works for a project that I was on, which is Feed the Future. Once again, it's preparation. Going through all these things before you know, the person to my right, what do you call it? We know each other by association. The person to my left, I know what he does. And I've never met them before. These things, sometimes people think that this work we do is just a waste. No. Sometimes it will pay off in the future. The work he did was about 2 years ago was, one to my person gentleman to where I was, work we did about 3 years ago. One to my left, work we did was last year. But then you get to know about who they are. Hard work never kills anybody, it pays off. And then the last one is, COVID-19 has impacted a lot of people, mentally, physically, emotionally. Your mental health is important. Your mental health is important. You know, this device that we have called a phone is a dangerous thing. It's a blessing, but a dangerous thing. What you do with it matters. You spend more time. I installed an app that showed me how much time I spend on apps. I realized I was spending so much time on Instagram, on Facebook, and it was killing my productive time. You know what I did? I had to delete those 2 apps from off my phone. Why? Because it's killing my productive time. It's killing my time to think and plan. So now I can go on Instagram or Facebook, but I don't spend more than 10 minutes. Why? Because I know that the goal of Instagram and Facebook is to keep me on that platform. Am I right? That's why if you go to weddings, have you noticed this? You go for weddings, functions, even meetings. You're waiting for somebody's on their phone. What are they looking at? Instagram, Facebook, the pictures, the likes, all these things. But you're forgetting that you're in an organization to have a meeting with somebody. Do you know what they even do? Have you planned? Have you thought about what they do? Have you read on it? Your thinking has to change. Don't walk into any meeting just anyhow. Don't walk into any place just anyhow. Even coming here. You can be on your phones, be on Instagram, and you leave and say, yes, I left the conference. But guess what? When the insights and the things you need all pass through your mind, they will run out because your mind is on what this person is played or Instablog Niger, this and that. So what do you call it? They're giving me the signal I need to stop. So I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity. I just want to thank you for the opportunity and understand that value matters. Structure without value is useless. And preparation plus opportunity is success. Thank you.
I think we can do better than that. Please, one more time, put your hands together for Mr. Ekenemi seated there, please. All right, time is fast spent, and just to let you know that shortly we'll be rounding off the program, but not after we've heard from our last speaker, as well as testimonials. We told you that the Nigerian Young Professionals Group have had 48 projects so far in their 7 years of existence. And this is the 48th seminar they're having, you know, right here in Asaba, the Delta State Capital. They've empowered a lot of young people in the region, out of the region, and even out of the country. So we'll be taking 2 testimonials for now, and when we return, we'll take one of our guests, our final speaker for the day, and we'll take all the testimonials, and we'll call it a day. All right, quickly to do that, let's welcome Mr. Anabiet Antai, who is the CEO of Antai's Farm, all the way from Akwa Ibom State, for 2 minutes. Once we're done with that, we'll have Cynthia Orife of Corotech. He's of Delta State. So we're taking 2, 1 in Akwa Ibom, 1 in Delta, for 2 minutes. When we return, we'll take it off from there. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. I represent a profession that gives credence to all professions, which is agriculture. Agriculture gives credence to all professions. If you stay even for a week, if you stay even for a week without eating, you will not be able to practice your profession. So agriculture gives credence to all professions. COVID-19 was a big blessing. Before venturing into agriculture, was in the media sector. But during the COVID-19 period, nothing was moving. I had to liaise with my wife. We ventured into agriculture. I got into the training and I started farming. My first time of farming, I invested 425,000 naira. I couldn't make even up to 100,000. I failed. I stood up again, embraced the challenge, planted again. I was able to make some profit. And within a year and 6 months, moving from one plot which I started my farming, I've moved from one plot of land to 4 hectares of land, where I cultivate tomato, cucumber, watermelon, okra, and pepper. In the Niger Delta state, where people think that those things does not grow, that it can only grow in the northern part of the country. So that is what I plant in my state, Akwa Ibom State. And my mission for this state is for me to expand to 10 hectares of land with funding. Because as we are here, before some crops move from the northern part of the country into Akwa Ibom State, they might have slept on the roof for about 3 or 4 days. And once that crop arrives here, it's no longer a fresh fruit. So our mission in Antia's farm is to make sure that we make available fresh fruit like tomato, that once we harvest tomato today in Akwa Ibom State, it will get to the people in Delta State today. We harvest tomato today, it will get to the people in River State today. We harvest cucumber today, it will get to the people in River State or Cross River State today. And that is our mission, and that is what we intend to do. With proper funding, we will achieve this. And I also want to urge government at all levels and some inspirited individuals to invest in agriculture. Agriculture does not need short-term funding. If you want to get a loan to venture into agriculture, at a short-term period, you will fail. What agriculture needs is long-term funding, because you may go into it. In your first year of doing farming, you will not even make any profit. One prominent person in my state came to me and asked me, said, I want to invest in agriculture. And I told him, sir, okay, you will spend like 4 million naira to plant 1 hectare of land. He said, how much am I going to make within 3 months? Ask me a question, sir. I know one of your buildings somewhere. You spend about 25 million naira building that apartment. And you are giving out the apartment at 350,000 naira a year. How much will it take you to recover your 20 million naira? And he couldn't answer me. It will take him up to 5 years or 10 years to recover his capital. Then you want to recover your capital in agriculture within the first 3 months. So in agriculture needs long-term investment. You come in and invest in agriculture, and what we do in Antia's farm, which we have been able to expand to this stage, we take investors. You come in and invest in Antia's farm, we pay you return on investment, and God has been helping us. And there are a lot of negative ways in agriculture. In every business, there are negative part of it. Even as a medical doctor, a patient will die in your hand, you will not stop practicing your profession even when that happens. As of last year, I lost about 9 million naira in agriculture because there was so much rain. Rain had to destroy my tomato farm. I had to sell off some of my properties.
Okay, I think we need to go straight to the testimony now because we have 2 minutes.
Okay. The testimony here is that I really appreciate what Mr. Sia is doing. And here in Niger Delta, we have the soil where we can cultivate all these crops. And I show that what I'm going to do here is I'm going to train 9 youths from each of the Niger Delta states as an appreciation of what they are going to do for us today by giving Antia's farm the sum of 500,000 to inject in our business. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Thank you, sir. So we just have 2 minutes for these testimonials. Once you come up, please make sure you go straight to the point. But before we call the next testifier now, in that sense, we have some documentaries, I understand, very short document. Okay, we can take the documentaries. Okay, let's call quickly for her testimony, Cynthia Orife, who is the CEO of Corintech Solutions Limited, Delta State. Cynthia, please quickly put your hands together for her as she steps up.
In terms of training
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Please permit me to stand on a already existed protocol. My name is Cynthia Orife. I am the CEO of Craftex Solution Limited. Now the question is, what do? We are into human capital development when it comes to ICT in various areas, web development, graphics, UI, UX, digital marketing, and much more. We started in 2017, although not easy, where we had to come to a location where people actually don't have an idea of what information technology is all about. We had to do trainings and trainings and trainings. It got to a time in a month, we don't really have people and yet bills are being paid. But then again, that didn't stop us. We had to move in 2018. We had to move from schools to schools, mentor people, tell them what this is, train government sectors to why, because we wanted people to get to know what we are doing. And in that light too, in 2018, we launched the IT School of the Year. Why? Because we want the young, catch them young, we want them to actually acclimatize what information technology is all about. We did that in 2018. In 2020, we couldn't because of the COVID, and in 2021, we had it. And we're looking at doing it again in 2022 this year. Now, recently, at last year, we run a training that has to do with employability. Now, in this case, we train 65 youths under graphics. Now, they are done with their training, so they are now into the market to be employed. So, right now, we are pushing them for internships. So, if you have any need for graphic designer, you can actually hit me up, because Mr. Moses has actually requested for 3 graphics training. Now the vision became clearer in 2022, where we had to push into employability, entrepreneurship, and mentorship. From 2017 to date, we've trained over 508 persons. We have 5 startups. We have 191 web developers, graphic designers, 98 interns, which are currently working with us. Now, these are the beauty, and we are still doing more, because when it comes to Delta State, the tech is not there. And where we are actually moving to, we are moving to train more women in ICT and more incubation this year. We are looking at having more startups that will be one of the leading startups, not just in Delta, not just in Nigeria, but also in Africa. Thank you very much.
Apologies for the whistling microphone. All right, please put your hands together one more time for Cynthia Orife. I told you just go straight to that testimony quickly, and how you've also benefited from, the grant they give you, talking about the Nigerian young professionals. Before I call on our next speaker, I just want to sincerely apologize to all our guests who are seated at this time. We've drawn the attention of the handlers of this venue to the weather situation here, and I think they're on top of it already. The place is really quite hot, and they know already. So let's take it up from here quickly. I will be bringing forward our next speaker, Professor Oyikon Tasia, who is of the Department of Agricultural, Food and Resource Economics, Michigan State University. He is a researcher, Feed the Future Nigerian Agricultural Policy Activities. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome a young professor, Professor Oyikon Tasia. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I will stand on existing protocol. Slide on. Yes, so I will be speaking briefly on micro, small, and medium enterprises post-COVID-19 recovery. I'm going to be trying very brief. I guess the second slide should show the outline. Okay. So I'll just do a quick introduction which goes around talking about what MSMEs, and then speak briefly on challenges and what I would call opportunities pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID-19 recovery. And I would highlight what I was summary highlighting. So the third slide, my MSMEs are micro, small, medium enterprises, and it's popularly or well recognized as being very critical to the developing economies, Nigeria inclusive. Over 59, so Nigeria has a population of about 200 million, and possibly, not an economist here, but possibly about 100 million workforce. About 59 million Nigerians are employed within the MSME space. Majority are the micro enterprise space, which has, so if you have a business that has less than 10 employees, you're considered a micro entrepreneur. And majority, about 99% of Nigerian businesses are within that space. Then you have the small and the medium enterprises. Now it covers things like, so majority of the micro MSMEs are into wholesale and retail trade. I was excited when Antia Fan mentioned about agriculture. About 20% are in agriculture, and then you have manufacturing and what have you. Now, the challenges, I think we all know the challenges, particularly if you're an entrepreneur. You have low adoption of ICT. So I was excited to hear Cynthia Orifie is capturing that space. COVID-19 has heightened the use of ICT, and it's good to hear that NYPF is supporting businesses to grow in that. And of course, I'm gender sensitive. I'm married. I have a daughter and a son. I hope I'm not on air. They ask you who do you love most. I say both of them though. Anyway, I'm a gender sensitive. Most of the work we do, we have gender components to our activities. And so I'm excited that that's something else you're doing. The list is quite a long list of challenges, weak linkages to local and international supply chains, limited access to markets. It's interesting that we're 200 million Nigerians, but yet we always complain about limited access to markets. And so it's not as easy as, because you have the population, in other challenges, you have infrastructural and what have you. So that will call on government. Interestingly, I heard, and I can't confirm, a lot of private sector or private individuals are now beginning to take on responsibilities. For instance, building roads. There was a lady, I won't call her name because she's a politician, but she built a road in Edo State, and there was this politics of, because I think Edo is PDP, she's from another state, and so who would commission that road? But what was interesting was that the community were so excited, they forgot about the commissioner and gave her a chieftaincy title, which was almost equivalent to the title of their traditional ruler. The Royal Majesty, I'm sure you would understand what that could mean. So those are challenges. But we recently, from data, we recently had so I'm engaged in a project that is trying to look at strengthening the business environment for MSMEs. And so we brought together stakeholders from Benue, Kaduna, and Niger State. And they all identified as opportunities as human resources. And they, although our minimum wage is low, but they have identified it as an opportunity because low labor costs. And that's why many of the US businesses are going into developing economies because you have cheaper labor costs and heightening their profits. For instance, the iPhones we get are not from I think they're made in where you have low labor costs. So these are opportunities that entrepreneurs can key into, in the sense that you can find networking opportunities where investors, I mean, of course, there are other issues in security, again, infrastructure and all that, but with the Blue Capital, Blue Camel, sorry, they at least are providing a technology that addresses the issue of power, which is also very important in setting up businesses. And so now all these challenges and opportunities existed pre-COVID, during COVID. Now during COVID, the only thing, what really happened was it heightened it. So for instance, issues of storage, you have people not going to the farms, they couldn't harvest, so you had higher post-harvest losses, you had lack of food in the market. So there were not really any new, I mean, people who we already had lots of people on unemployment. So during COVID, the numbers went up. That was, so we didn't really find new challenges. So I would just, but one thing that in the post-COVID-19 recovery is SMEDAN is playing a very strong role. SMEDAN is Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria. They have recently launched national policy on MSMEs, and one of the things that the policy captures several things that the policy captures is how to address these challenges that have been identified across several value chains. And the government at least purports to be committed to funding the implementation of that policy. And in that policy, they address several things. For instance, one of their core objectives is fostering the emergence of new MSMEs in Nigeria, particularly among women and children, which be youths. Sensitizing MSMEs for ethical and green business practices. Now, I think ACIO, Mr. Isichi had explained that structure is important. Now, one of the things I would encourage everyone is when you're going into business, be known for something. Don't cut corners. The reason is you may cut corners and make money today, but it's not sustainable. Okay? And again, try and adopt green technologies in as much as possible because we are very interested in saving our planet. And the policy tries to promote that. I would move on to, so of course we all know about initiatives, CBN, FCN, and I'm going to learn more about what the Nigerian content and monetary development. But I don't know, do we only focus on oil and gas, or I hope we can expand? Just oil and gas, okay. So then, I don't know if you've heard of ACFA, which is the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. That one of it has 4 core objectives is to create a liberalized single market for goods and services. So it makes Africa one single market. Now, what that means is it hopefully would address issues of lack of access to markets. And in essence, I was excited to hear you're operating in several countries, so you can be in Delta State and still serving and providing services for people outside Delta, 1, outside Nigeria, 2, particularly in the African continent. And that's a very timely initiative in the sense that it's coming at a time where in the post-COVID-19 recovery. I would move on to support provided by donor agencies. So I'm currently funded by USAID, Future Nigeria and Cultural Policy Activity. We were first started as the Nigerian Agricultural Policy Project, which was for 5 years, and that was a $12.5 million grant. And we had four core areas. One was to support in generating evidence. And so one of the things as a business person is you need to ensure that your business has some, is founded on some evidence, in the sense that not because John is planting rice and you think that, oh, I'm just planting rice, he seems to be successful, so I should go and plant rice, without knowing that maybe John has gone through the stages of mentoring, learning, and all that. And so I'm excited to also hear that NYPF is doing those kind of things, supporting mentoring. And so we are also working on capacity development, but our focus more is on, at several levels. So for instance, we recently did a training in, we work in 7 states. In the Niger Delta, we only work in Delta and Cross River. And interestingly, our project supported the Delta state government in the formulation of an agricultural policy. And we've also done the same in Cross River State, and we're currently working on Kebbi State. The essence of policies is that it helps, of course, it helps investors know what the government idea is, particularly relevant for us, agriculture. And what the next step after formulating the policy is implementation, and so we're providing support in doing that. So, yeah, when I was talking about capacity strengthening, so we found out that it's not just enough to provide the evidence. Of course, so we're working with associations. We've recently started working with the National Association of Small and Medium Enterprises.
Association of Nigeria, and have found that one of the things that
MSMEs lack is financial literacy. And so one of the things we're trying to work with them is to teach them on do some financial trainings, but with a slight focus on agricultural insurance, because that's very important in agriculture. And so our project is working on that. There's another project called the Feed the Future Nigeria Agribusiness Investment Activity. And that's a $15.7 million project. It started in December 2018, ends in December 2023. And it has 4 key objectives, which again feed into what MSMEs do, in the sense that the goal is to improve the business, agribusiness enabling environment, so working on issues like law and policy, broadening access to finance, facilitating investment. So they have a protocol they follow. One of the goals of that project is to attract US-based foreign investors to come into the agribusiness space. So this activity is more like a midwife between the MSME and US potential investor. And and they also provide some kind of trainings, technical capacity to enhance, which is very, very key. Now, on the next slide, the private sector, the non-governmental sector are playing a very strong role, and I would single out Nigerian young professionals. The reason is, you can see, it made my work easy for this slide. How? You get people who gave testimony, they've provided access to finance, capacity strengthening. If the people here have committed to capacity strengthening, advocacy, he did that when he gave his speech, and reorientation, changing of mindsets, he also brought that up. So it's like as if this is what in law we call consensus ad idem, the sense of meeting of minds. And so it's good to hear that. You see that almost, I think all of us who have spoken here have reiterated. It's almost like we had a private meeting and said, okay, you talk about this, and we did not. So you're hearing it several times. Hopefully it would resonate loudly within yourself. And so the summary highlights, I'll say, I think we're making progress on policy direction and policy implementation. We're thankful to several government agencies, including NCMDB, even if it's oil and gas. My focus is agriculture, but there are other people doing other things here. There's ACTFA, donor support by USAID, which has spent significant resources in Nigeria, and micro, small, and medium enterprises. So one thing we should ask is, yes, you may need capacity, but there's something you have that you can use to help somebody else. So let's not always look at it as what can I get? You understand? Let's look at ourselves as a circle. We all form part of the chain. And so, yes, I may not have access to finance, but I have time. And maybe that's what I would encourage is I will volunteer my time in exchange for access, maybe like a barter kind of system. Let's try and work with each other. You know your skill sets, what you have, and find somebody who can meet what you don't have, but you should also be willing to give something that you have. Okay? So that way it's a sustainable endeavor. And I will end with the conclusions. I intentionally left it blank, and the goal is, you've heard several things from all of us. What is your takeaway? Conclude yourself. What can I do? What can I implement on? What can I work on? Thank you.
I think he deserves a better round of applause this afternoon. Okay, just to let you know that we're still at the second Niger Delta Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Summit 2022, and it's very important that this year's summit is focusing on stimulating MSMEs growth towards post-COVID-19 recovery. Our time is fast spent. We quickly want to take 2 more testimonials, and we will also take the vote of thanks from Mr. Moses Siasia. We'll need to take the documentaries. Let's just quickly bring up this afternoon Deborah Ethim Okon, who is the CEO of DB Vios Nigeria Enterprises, Cross River State. All right, please put your hands together for her. And also Okorode Christian, who is the CEO, Millionaire Farms Limited, Port Harcourt. Please also file out as we take these 2 testimonials this afternoon. All right, just 1, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Standing under the existing protocol, I remain Deborah Okon from Cross River State, and I'm the founder of Ambitious Nigeria Enterprises. At Ambitious Nigeria Enterprises, we are a food processing enterprise. We are into food processing, packaging, branding, and export. So we are into plantain flour processing, beans flour processing, packaging of honey, and supplies of palm oil. In 2018, my dad was diagnosed of diabetes and was placed on specific meals, some of which included unripe plantain. Being that my father is someone who eats swallow on a regular basis, we could not cope buying plantain, unripe plantain flour for him from the supermarket, because we had enough plantain suckers in my compound planted. So my mom had to start the production of plantain flour at home for him to eat. So after a year of producing for my dad, I found passion. I leveraged his experience and sought for more knowledge. I went to the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, Oshodi. I was trained in 2020. By 2020 November, I was able to get a few equipment. I would say there are possible alternatives because they were not production equipment, they were actually kitchen utensils I could use to maneuver and scale through the first stage of the production because I didn't have much. The production equipment actually costed 15,000 naira. In February 2021, I had just 10,000 and I was like, if I keep waiting for a large sum of money, I wouldn't start. Let me start with this. I went to the market with that 10,000 that day and got plantains. I didn't have any machine, so I used sun. At least when we were producing for my dad, my mom was using sun all the while. So I had to produce that day, and for 3 weeks I didn't sell even one pack of it. Because the people in Calabar don't understand what plantain flour is. I had to start explaining what plantain flour is from scratch. Because when you tell somebody plantain flour, they'll be like, plantain get flour. And all those things. Then in March, I was able to get a loan from my mom. I got a dehydrator. The dehydrator costed 300,000, and by God's grace, I've been able to pay it. Currently, my business is worth 480,000 naira in assets and 100,000 naira working capital. We also have a staff strength of 4, 3 permanent staff and 1 contract staff, and we've trained over 50 persons already, free of charge. We did not charge them for the training. So I want to also thank the organizers of this program for this opportunity and privilege. It's not easy to stand here. Outside the fact that I'm standing here, at least my face will be shown on screen. And it's a privilege. My mom will be proud of me, yes, I have to say it. If my mom should see me speaking, she will be very proud of me. Thank you so much, I'm grateful.
I think you can do better, actually. And she was asking, plantain they get flour. Plantain get flour. At least she don't show us a plantain get flour. Okay, we will be taking King Solomon last. I understand that his story is superb. And I mean, I recalled we've met some time before, but quickly, Okorode Christian, CEO, Millionaire Farms Limited, Port Harcourt. Please quickly. Christian, where's Christian? Okay, Christian, please step forward.
Good afternoon. Okay, I know that you can't see me because of my height, but if you can hear my voice, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Moses and your team for this platform that you've given to young people like me. While I was serving at Ebonyi State, where I did 12 NYSC projects in 2 months and got a state award, I got an idea to go into plantain plantation, that is plantain farming. So after NYSC, I came back home and that idea hits me again. So I went to my village in Oguama, which is in Nembe local government in Bayelsa State, and asked my people to give me a land, and they gave me a land in the forest. So I went to the forest, me and my niece, every day because we didn't have money, we would go there and clear the land, and we got 1,000 plantain suckers. And since I didn't have money, every single day from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., I will be there working by myself. And in less than 6 months, we scaled a 1,000 plantain suckers farm to a 10,000 plantain suckers farm. With the help of tech, which is Facebook. And also we moved into poultry farming. We kickstarted with 200 birds, and the first person that I actually employed in my farm, she's here also. But the truth about this is that there are challenges in the agricultural space. I have made money, a lot of money that I never dreamt of. And I've also lost a lot of money. But there is one thing that I've learned: to follow the money. So last year we actually acquired a feed mill that produces feeds, and every single day we are able to make nothing less than 400,000. However, we need some funds to expand, and that's the reason why I'm so happy that I have this platform to thank Moses, and also to say that if you invest with us in 9 months, we're going to give you a return on investment of 30%. Thank you so much. God bless you.
You are an entrepreneur, you are a businessman, you're already advertising too about your investment. It's fine. Put your hands together for him. Oh my. Okay, because of our time, let's quickly have Solomon Pere Mobowe King, shortly known as Solo King, this afternoon. Please for his testimony. His big is a voice you need to hear, and he's a regular speaker as far as entrepreneurship is concerned in the country. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Moses. I'd like to stand on existing protocols. Thank you for 2 minutes. I hope I'm able to say 1 or 2 in post. Good afternoon, Asaba. I'm supposed to tell of our story in brass and books, and I just wrote down a few things here. 2008, there was a lot of noise about businesses, especially in the financial space, where people come and take monies from people in the market, small businesses, and take monies from them and go away. At the time, I was already lecturing in the university in finance. I have a doctorate in finance now. And back then, I was a master's degree holder, and I always heard that story. And I'd always wanted to have a finance institution, like a finance company, but I was always too scared. I like to fail privately. I don't like to take money and something goes wrong and your name is out there in public, and so, but those stories became too much. So person don't open business, so they don't carry people money go. So person don't go market, so they don't teach people money go. And then there was also this need, which was very glaring, like what Christian is doing. People actually want alternative investment opportunities that are legitimate. So that year, 2009 into 2010, we started out in brass and books. We didn't get a community banking license until 2012. So we will say that officially Brass and Books was created as a community bank in 2012. And in those years, this February 9th, we became exactly 10 years. The story was featured on Guardian a few days ago. And in those 10 years, I will just quickly read out a few things that we have done. So in financial inclusion, we have been able to get 5,238 client members who are saving and they have access to loans. We've reached 20,000 people in these 10 years. We've touched over 80 communities. Our business is in 4 different states in Nigeria now. And then we started from Bayelsa. I remember usually telling the people that it's from Bayelsa to the rest of the world. In jobs, we have at any time, any given year, there's 60 direct jobs and over 2,000 indirect jobs, because as a business, we also own farms. We have a record label that employs producers and all. So 2,000 indirect jobs. In financial literacy, which is something that I'm very heavy on, we have what we call the Financial Wellness Workshop, and we've organized that every year, even on radio. So we have the longest running radio program anywhere in the Niger Delta. And I dare say in Nigeria, it's called the Money Cafe, and it's been on radio for 5 years. Every morning, I'm talking about one thing or the other about money. And we've had 1,200 such financial wellness conferences. I don't call them a conference, but 1,200 financial wellness meetings in those 10 years. In access to finance, we've done 200 interest-free loans monthly to usually small businesses. I wouldn't even say they are medium. So between 50 to 100,000, 200,000 in loans to market people. So that means that in those years we've done 2,400 of those loans, and 80% of those loans are to women. In alternative investments, this 10 years we have worked with 500 different investors. We have managed, on behalf of people, 2.45 billion naira that we've worked with in those years. So I am grateful particularly for your grant to us. That helps us to give another 100 people 50,000 naira. So thank you so much for the opportunity. But more importantly, thank you for the recognition. We've worked for several years and most people don't even know what we're doing. And I'm too busy really doing the work than looking for people to be patting my back. Thank you, Moses. This is really huge. Thank you very much, everyone.
One more time, we can appreciate King Solomon this afternoon. Please put your hands together for him. To just know that there are people in the Niger Delta making a difference is heartwarming to say, honestly. One more time, please put your hands together. Put your hands together for him. All right, our time is fast spent. We need to quickly go, but it's been a very exciting time this afternoon, really journeying into the stories and what our people are doing in the Niger Delta. So we can say for sure that our youths are not what? I said we can say for sure that our youths in the Niger Delta are not what? They're not lazy. We're not lazy. We are not lazy. Okay, one more time, let's bring to the podium the convener of this summit, who is no other but a very reputable figure in the Niger Delta region, talking about Mr. Moses Siloko Siasia for his closing remarks this afternoon. Please put your hands together for him. One more time, you can do better. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to come here and to say thank you for all that you have done as our guests and also as our speakers, our panelists, those who gave testimonies, participants, members of the press. We're indeed grateful. You can see from the deliverables that we have received today that there's more in the Niger Delta than what others think. So we are a deposit of enormous resource. We are just looking for opportunity so that we can invest in the life and the future of our young people. So without wasting much time, 2022, our funds that we have budgeted for this year as an organization, which is for grants across board. It is small, but these funds are given by young people who are doing businesses. It's also given by some stakeholders who feel that what we are doing, we are changing narrative and changing realities in our space. They support us in that fund. And in 2022, what we have in that our pool is 10 million naira. So in showing that, look, NYPF does not have the financial, how will I call it now, in-house capability to manage funding. We have been using individuals. And that's why when we saw Mr. Solomon King and what he's doing with his financial house, we're indeed pleased. So I want to announce that apart from the 500,000 grants that we are giving to your company, we are going to put that 10 million grants in your company so that you can distribute it to companies and young people, owned by young people that are doing well, across board, within the Niger Delta, within Nigeria, and within the space of building MSMEs, most importantly in the rural community, which is our focus. So we are going to give you that money to manage on our behalf, to give it to people who are qualified. Then all those who came here to give testimony, we are also giving you that grant of 500,000. So that money will be sent on Monday to the to Braggs and Brooks. So Braggs and Brooks will deliver those funds to you. So Braggs and Brooks, please, on Monday, I will sign off for that money to be sent to you. Then you now give it to these wonderful entrepreneurs. It's just a token to show appreciation in what you have done. Because you find out that the message, the kind of, how will I call it now, attention that is given to people, young people within this region, are not young people who are exemplary. You find out that government and stakeholders really recognize those who are not involved in productive ventures. So we want to change that reality. We want to change that narrative to say, look, if you are doing well and we see you are doing well, you will be encouraged. And that's how society is supposed to grow. And we will change that by the grace of God. I want to thank all our sponsors for giving us this opportunity, because we can't do this all by ourselves, despite the fact that we are young people contributing to a pulse, to help our fellow young people. I will tell you, I was a street hawker. I was hawking, selling oranges in the street of Port Harcourt, selling ice blocks in the street of Port Harcourt. But I told myself at that time that I will be responsive to my family, to my society, and to my country. And today, the story is different. We have employed people across board. We have managed, companies across board. You will not even imagine the number of companies that I sit on their board. So this is what we are doing to tell the world that, look, there are young people in the Niger Delta that thinks positivity. There are young people in the Niger Delta that thinks productivity. There are young people in the Niger Delta that thinks excellent. You see what we are doing, we have touch of excellence as young professionals. I cannot be the chairman of Nigerian Young Professionals going around the world talking to people and I'm not investing in where I'm from. That's why we are doing what we are doing for the Niger Delta people. So once again, if you are here as a participant, you have need in your business, either in training, either in support or whatever. We'll look at it, you send it to us. Mr. Mayor is here, who is the office manager for NYPF. He's going to take all your details. So all those who also are beneficiaries of the loan schemes from different organizations like NASAL and all those things will follow you through to ensure that there's credibility in your company process, and also you pay back to government, because this idea of, it's a government money, is a free money. No, not for us as young professionals. We are not touts. We are not militants. We have to ensure that we work hard to pay government, so that governments too at all levels can say, okay, these young people, they are paying back. Let us come up with programs that will all further help them. Once again, I want to thank all our sponsors. More specifically, without him, we wouldn't have achieved this event. The Central Bank Governor, Dr. Godwin Emefiele, CON, for his support. We deeply appreciate what he has done. And I want to also urge some other stakeholders, people from this region. I mentioned it in my opening speech. They should also invest in the lives of their people, because charity begins at home. We all must work collectively. Today, if I'm going to Bayelsa State, say I'm going to visit my state, I must prepare myself before I go. I must use security. I must prepare money so that I can give to people to answer to their needs, which is not supposed to be in a well-civilized society. But these are the challenges that we are faced with. But it's a work in progress. We must all invest in changing the moral lives and building the capacity of our young people. We want to thank the NCDMB, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, for what you are doing in the oil and gas industry. Most importantly, I know of a lot of young people who have benefited from your process. In terms of training, in terms of capacity building, recently I saw that you trained some seafarers, some ship builders. I saw that you trained some youths in the Niger Delta, over 1,000 youths in the Niger Delta. And these are things that, you know, we can do to change the face and the image of the Niger Delta region. We cannot wait for government, because the age of the ideas that those we have in the political office today does not conform to modern reality. So we, as young people, must show them that we are in the fourth industrial realm, that we must do things that will conform to modern reality. Thank you very much. May God bless you all. We're going to have light refreshment, and I believe our next year MSME Summit will be in Akwa Ibom State. The first one was done in Port Harcourt, River State. Now we are having the second one in Delta. Next year we're going to move to Akwa Ibom State. That's how we are going to be moving, to ensure that we reach and we touch the lives of young people within the Niger Delta region. I want to thank you and I want to appreciate you. I can see my friend, he just came, Ayiba Krozia, one of the youngest moving entrepreneur in the Niger Delta. Ayiba Krozia, you are welcome. I want to also thank all of you for your patience. See, what we are doing here is my own philosophy of life. If we have 2, 3 people, and from that 2, 3 is only one at the end of the day that gets what we are saying, as far as we are concerned, is wealth for us as young professionals. So go home with all these informations that you have heard here today, because that's the kind of thing that made me, because I exposed myself to conferences, seminars, I got information, and today I have built my company to the point where we have employed a critical mass of people. So it is my prayer that all of you will be better than me. So once again, thank you, all our speakers, our special guests, thank you for coming, and may God bless you all.
Let's put your hands together for Mr. Moses Siloko one more time. I think he deserves a standing ovation, actually. Thank you for that. Please put your hands together with a standing ovation for all he's been doing for the region and for country and even for humanity at large. It's quite heartwarming and very cheering this afternoon. Anything they say that has a beginning definitely will have an end. Yes, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. My name is Austin Okorodudu, and I've had, as always, the pleasure, the privilege and honor to stand before you to be the master of ceremony for today's event. Just before we go, hopefully we'll see you at the 3rd edition in Akwa Ibom State in 2023. Let's take the national anthem.
And we're still bringing you live coverage from Asaba Delta State, where our crew is there, bringing us up to speed with regards to development over there. It's the second Niger Delta MSME Summit, which is MSME stands for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises for 2022. It's organized by the Niger Delta Young Professionals, NDYP, who also, we've had quite a number of speakers speak at the event with the aim to change the narrative of the Niger Delta.
No, we are not looking for.
Okay.
If anybody.
All right. So let's quickly go back to the convener, who there's an interview with to listen to what he has to say to our crew and other members of the media. Let's listen in.
That have excelled in their choosing area of careers, their fields as professionals, coming together to contribute funding, to also add value to the process of growth in this oil-rich region. Because what we are saying to the young people here, no, say no to criminality, say no to kidnapping, say no to yahoo, say no to social vices. There are enormous opportunity. We live in a world of endless possibility. So that's why we are focusing on entrepreneurship, because the only way we can change the challenges in the Niger Delta today into windows of opportunity is only when we create that environment of entrepreneurship for our young people, most importantly, because we live in a fourth industrial realm. And today, science and technology and digitalization is changing the face of global world economics. So the advent of COVID, you can see things have changed in the world. The way we live our life, the way we do our things, a lot of things have changed. So even in business, we need to conform to this modern day reality. So that's why we are having this event today, to talk to young people within the Niger Delta that, look, things have started, differently in the entire globe. So we must think differently. We must look for opportunities. We must look for platforms for networking. We must look for platforms for help. So that's why we are bringing different institutions. We are bringing different people, individuals that are making commitments to support the aspirations of young people. The reason why I'm the chairman of Nigerian Young Professionals Forum, but I'm from Niger Delta. So if tomorrow I succeed at the national level, and where I'm from, there's a lot of gap, that means at the end of the day I have failed as a young professional. So that's why I'm doing this in my own locality, to ensure that we reshape the moral life of our young people. We change the story and the narrative of the Niger Delta, which is known for a negative perception. Today, if you Google, as I've said, if you Google Niger Delta youths, when you go to Google, you go to images, you will see is youths with guns, speedboat, militants and all that. We must change our narrative, because this is not the real story of the Niger Delta young people. And we also have successful people from this area, from this region. We have the likes of Tony Elumelu, who is from Niger Delta. We have the likes of Jimovia, who is from Niger Delta. We have the likes of Albert Wigwe, who is from Niger Delta. We have a lot of captains of industry from this area. In fact, I was telling somebody that in 5 or 6 chief executives of banks, renowned banks in this country, are owned by Southerners, are owned by Niger Deltans. What are we doing to change the face of our region? Because we cannot say that I live in Abuja. We cannot say I'm an Abuja boy, or someone who lives in Lagos, or we are Lagos boy. We are from a place. So we must come together. Charity begins at home, to change the minds of young people in the Niger Delta. And that's why we are doing the MSME Summit, to empower, encourage young people who are doing business and support them, and see that their business goes through with all manner of process, evaluation and all that, and build their capacity for future challenge.
Yeah, basically the youths form a significant proportion of the population of Nigeria. Yeah, in terms of the workforce, in Nigeria we have a workforce of about 80 million people or so, and the youths constitute more than 30% of that population. So if they are properly equipped and empowered, they will go a long way improving the gross domestic product, the GDP of Nigeria, and creating employment for other people. Yeah, this program for me, has come at a very opportune time, when we are thinking of how to reverse the trend in the economy. It's not all the time you spend time to talk about the negative things in the economy. We need to make Nigeria win. These guys are the ones who have the leverage, to do things differently, to move Nigeria in the right direction. And so it's quite a good workshop, in my opinion.
Well, what the traditional means of support that we have seen over the years recently by the class of politicians that we have today is contracts, procurements, and all that. Now, yeah, contracts is good. It's part of government process. But if you are doing it, you must have an element of bringing back. For example, all the contracts that we are awarding, what is the element of job creation? The value of job creation we are creating from those contracts. You could see they say, oh, we have given an award of contract for so and so number of bridge, given an award of contract for so and number of road, given an award of contract for... What value is it creating, economic value, back to those states, different states? So we must, even in contract, awards, we must use it to create value. For example,
what we are saying to government at this regional level and government at the national level, to look, if you are giving out contracts, road contracts, you're giving out building contracts, you're giving contracts and all that, you must have an element of engagement of your trained young people. Okay, you're awarding the contract to company A. How many young people will be employed? How many young people will be, given the required skills in this contract? And all that. Other countries, that's what they think about. For example, you could see Blue Camel. Blue Camel is owned by a young northerner. He was here, he's our guest speaker. If you see what this young man has done in Kaduna, he's training over 10,000 people every year because of leadership that understands, sustainable empowerment for young people. We do a lot of solar street lights in the Niger Delta today. I can beat my chest to say, if you look at all the states in the Niger Delta for solar street lighting solution that they give on yearly basis as contracts, it's running into 15-20 billion annually. So why can't we use that money, bring people who have the expertise, train them, and build these solar panels in this region, and we use it for our people? This is how to demonstrate growth. Our leaders should start thinking that, look, the age of the ideas is my concern, because we have moved beyond all this, archaic thinking, political. They are so much concerned about politics. It's not politics. Leaders should think about the next generation, not the next election. Election is secondary. Next generation is primary. That's why you are seeing the escalation of violence everywhere. People are joining Yahoo because they don't have any choice. They don't have anywhere to go to. So we are changing the narrative, and that's what we're doing with the support of the young people that you have seen here today. Because I'm not an island. I have a lot of young people who are giving us that support base, and I have a lot of people too who are seeing what we are doing, making positive change in society and supporting our endeavors. Where I'm coming from, I was a street hawker, I was a street kid in this region. So today, God has blessed me with focus, with resilience, with determination. So what we are doing is to collectively pay back to society, because they say service to humanity is the best work in life. And this is what we believe in. And this is what our parents taught us.